All right, once again, I do want to welcome everybody. A huge weekend in store, and I love to get big name guests. Trainer Kenny McPeek, who is on the ballot for the Hall of Fame. You get my vote, sir. And social media influencer Griffin Johnson. So everybody welcome them to the morning.
It's hard to follow that up, by the way. Hall of Fame ballot.
But, okay, I'm going to call you on that, Griffin. Griffin actually got the Overview 2025 Owner of the Year and the Big Sport of Turfdom Award in 2025. Now, those are very prestigious awards given in our community and our industry. Griffin is also from Paris, Illinois. What is that population, like 8,000?
I think like 8,300 now. We're going up.
Do you have a stoplight in your town?
A couple.
Okay,
yeah, we got a few.
So Griffin is extremely important to our industry because of social media. Kenny is a very good user of social media, as he was also the trainer of Thorpedo Anna, who had her own X account, and everybody followed it to see everything that she was doing. But Griffin is more known in the social media circles. What was your introduction to horse racing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like everyone's like, how did this guy get here, right? So it's kind of a long, loaded question, but to make it short, with social media, you're always fighting your career because you can, as fast as you go up, you can go down. Mm-hmm. So within that, I started a venture capital fund, Animal Capital, and to I guess, close the gap quickly, Allie Finley from West Point knew about me, knew about Animal Capital, and so she reached out whenever they had Sandman. She said, hey, we got this big, beautiful gray horse. Would you be interested in, getting equity in a horse and coming to promote it? So, yeah, that's how we did it, with ABR and a stake in stardom.
So it wasn't like a $10,000 claimer. He gets a grade 1 winner. Doesn't always happen that way. I need to stress that. A very big weekend. Was it last weekend you were here? Or 2 weekends ago?
It was 2 weekends ago. We had Ewing in the Ozark Stakes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So as he mentioned, Sandman, who won last year's Arkansas Derby. Both of you have had a lot of experience with Kentucky Derbies. Kenny, obviously the trainer of Mystic Dan, and also trainer of the Kentucky Oaks with Thorpedo Anna. That was the first time that a trainer had the double since, what, 61 or something like that?
1952, Ben Jones.
Yeah.
No, and even then the fields were a lot shorter. So, 20-horse field and a 14-horse field. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to get somebody else to do it again, too. We'll see. I'm going to try to do it again this year.
Well, speaking of that, a very big day for the 3-year-olds and the 3-year-old fillies tomorrow. Sandman does return today in the Razorback, and Mark Cassie is his trainer. And Mark has become you've become more knowledgeable. And a lot of times horsemen are kind of cliquish, or can be, and not privy to outsiders, but you have really developed a love and a passion for the sport, and it shows.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I've just been having fun with it. I mean, I mess things up all the time. I'll say things wrong. I'll say, oh, that's a beautiful brown horse, And for the newcomers, it's great because they feel like, well, here's someone that's in it. He's not that smart, so I'll go in with him and learn with him. So I've just been having a lot of fun, and Mark's been great. He's helped me learn a lot. His whole team, really, they've, let me groom. They've let me get in the trenches, put bandages, and help them tack, like whatever it is. I just try to learn everything.
Well, it was pretty cool because he actually got on a pony the other day and trained with Sandman. What was that experience like? Had you ridden before?
Well, like fat, like pasture ponies, nothing crazy, not a thoroughbred. So I was just kind of sitting there once again. I kind of lurk in the mornings. I'll go out there and say like, hey, what can I do today? And I said I wanted to ride a pony, and they made it happen.
I love that. Well, obviously Griffin has brought a new, fresh light to our industry. He's huge on social media, but Kenny is big on Netflix. And I made the briefest cameo ever, but I was so excited. So Kenny was involved in Race for the Crown. It was an amazing Netflix series. How did that come about? Because I remember when Thorpedo Anna won the fantasy, there were all these cameras, and I was like, what's going on?
That was kind of a weird deal. We weren't supposed to be in it, actually.
Really?
And then when Mystic Dan won the Southwest, I was approached about, hey, can we follow you Arkansas Derby Day? I'm like, sure, whatever. I mean, you know, can we wire you? We want to wire you all day. I said, I don't care. It's going to be me. And then we proceeded to win 4 races that day. And Netflix kind of grabbed onto that. Mystic Dan didn't win that day. He ran 3rd in the Arkansas Derby, but well enough to punch his ticket. And then they kept saying, well, we're just going to keep following you. Is that okay? And of course, then they subsequently documented us winning the Oaks and the Derby.
Unbelievable.
So you couldn't have asked for anything like that to come together. It really wasn't supposed to be, I wasn't supposed to be on the show at all. It was supposed to be Chad Brown and Brad Cox. And of course, they're not nearly as fun as I am. So
I'm gonna second that. I'm gonna second that because Kenny is not afraid to speak his mind. He will tell you what he's gonna tell you.
I was just myself, and so we didn't really change anything. But yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, the fallout from that's interesting because I go to the races in Japan last summer, and everybody wants selfies with me because they translated it into Japanese, and then I go to Argentina for the races, and it's translated in Spanish, and you know, pretty much anywhere I go worldwide, they've watched it. England, Ireland, yeah, no, that's pretty neat. But yeah, I mean, I'm just pretty honored to have been able to pull that off, and for them to document every step of the way has been unique. And you know, my daughter was highly involved in the show, and of course my wife, and we actually, the house that we own is right here, and that's where they started and taped most of it. It's right here in Arkansas.
In Trivista, which was our overnight stakes yesterday. Now, you two have something in common, is you also visited Japan for their racing product, and the brief video I saw on social looks like a flash mob coming to you, wanting to take selfies and all that. How did the trip to Japan come about?
Well, I actually was going with one of my best friends is Taylor Fritz, which he's a U.S. tennis player. So he had to play over there, and I was like, yeah, I'll go visit Japan. And it just so happened to be the same time as the Japan Cup. So the JRA hooked us up and took us over, and it was cool, though. The people, like Kenny said, I didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
I didn't know if they had ever seen me. Like, you know, it's Japan. I've never been. So it was very cool. They were intrigued in American racing, and it was unique, I would say. Nothing like it. Right?
Wonderful people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Beautiful, yeah.
It's an amazing country, really.
So a lot of people are very familiar, obviously, with Kenny. Real quickly, Thorpedo Anna has really launched a new generation, I think, of fans because you made her so accessible. And I hadn't seen that since maybe John Sheriff's and Zenyatta out in Southern California. Mm-hmm. Why make a filly, that good of a filly, that accessible and approachable?
I really didn't think a whole lot about it. I mean, taking little snippets of video of your horses is easy to do. I mean, I'm, you know, daily, you know, when a horse is galloping or breezing or schooling in the paddock. I did it yesterday for Taken by the Wind and Blackout Time. It's not hard. It doesn't take any amount of time. And I typically do it for owners anyway. And if I've got a horse that's doing something unique or you know, they really look good, you know, I'll grab my phone and shoot a video and send it to all the owners, and you know, they love that stuff. So in the case of Thorpedo Anna, I just started taking different snippets, but I think the Travers was the difference with her.
Okay. I
mean, I think she was just a normal filly until we took a shot to beat the Colts, and I think they discounted her that she really didn't have a shot, and she, you know, she ran probably one of the most courageous Travers ever. She gets beat a short distance. I actually told Mike Rapoli last night, we were talking about the industry, I said, I forgive you for beating me that day. But I think it raised her people's level of respect for her.
So one of her nicknames was the Grizzly, and I like to compare thoroughbreds to bears. Some are Care Bears. I love a good kiss on the lips. I'm not gonna lie, just a big old smooch. Some don't want to be messed with. How did she get the name the Grizzly?
Well, a reporter called me and said, well, what do you think your chances in the Oaks? And I said, well, all I know is they better bring a bear because I'm bringing a grizzly.
And it stuck.
I think it was Mary Rampolini might have been the one that wrote that. I can't remember who wrote that, but I meant it. I told her that, she's a beast. And she was, in many ways, I mean, her and Mystic Dan were workmates going into the spring. And she would give him everything he could handle every day. And matter of fact, there were days we thought she was better than him. Of course, we never got a chance to run them against each other. Right. But she was an amazing journey, and she still is. For that matter, John Sakura was here this morning, and he boards her at Hillendale Farm in Paris, Kentucky. And she's been bred this spring to Gun Runner. Yeah, she's not been pronounced in foal, but John manages the breeding side of it. I still own part of her, and then Judy Hicks still owns part of her. And then we had one partner who opted to sell out, but John himself and his partners own the majority. But we're going to continue on that ride, and you're going to probably at some point see foals out of her that I'll post, and we'll keep everybody informed on her progression as a broodmare.
Wow, that is royally bred. Very excited to see her offspring. How much stress, because sometimes, you see thoroughbreds out of nothing, by nothing, and then you see these royally bred horses really not step up with their progeny. How much stress is involved, or is stress involved in there? You just kind of have to wait and see.
Well, I don't really look at any of this as stress. Somebody asked me, like having these good horses, are you nervous? I said, not really. I said, what really made me nervous was that when I had 15 really bad horses in the dead of winter at Latonia in 1986, and an owner that hadn't paid me in 4 months. Ooh. And I couldn't make payroll, and I had horses that were slow, and so all this is just gravy. And so I don't consider any of it pressure. It's an actual it's a real thrill to be involved with high quality horses. And you wake up every day and you say, wow, look at the quality of stock we've got. Those rough winters were those were lessons and periods in my career that nobody videotaped.
We didn't have Netflix back then, did we, Kenny?
I was thinner then, all right? I had a head full of hair, all right? And throwback, Mark Cassie and I go way back. Mark had hair and I had hair. And in the 1986 or 87, I had 6 horses in training. Wow. And Mark claimed 5 of them in a week. And of course, I'm a lot taller than him. And I'm like, you little SOB. I said, what were you going to do that to me for? Put me out of business, Craig. I was down to 1 horse. And he said, I was just testing you. So we actually laugh about that today. But we do thrive on beating each other.
I'm sure you do.
Okay, I love beating Mark, and he loves beating me. But it's all, it's our jobs, and that's part of it.
So obviously, I think every day in the thoroughbred industry is a lesson learned. Your introduction into horse racing and just the bond that you see with you and Sandman, what has he taught you?
Patience, a lot of it. No, he's been great. I think Sandman for me he has changed my life. I mean, going into this, there wasn't really a whole lot online for me to look at, so I felt like I was blind. And really, I think the biggest thing he's taught me, aside from actual patience, is you always got to be open and available to learn. He's taught me so much about being a horseman. He's taught me a lot about handling losses publicly and being okay with it. I mean, the list goes on and on with Sandman. He'll always be special to me. I mean, I feel like I owe everything to him.
So when Griffin was here a few weeks ago, I actually messaged Mark Cassie, his trainer, and said, can you give me a little bit of insight to Griffin? And he said, he obviously likes you a lot, but the day of the Kentucky Derby, he said, I knew he was true and genuine when after the Derby, all the cameras are gone, and 2 hours later, he's still in the stall giving Sandman peppermints.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Andy ended up finding me and doing an interview later, like a post follow-up. But after that Derby moment, that's like when it really hit me. I hadn't fully understood. Even the Arkansas Derby, like, I didn't understand the magnitude of winning that, right? No pun intended. We're
Right.
racing against
Yeah,
some later.
magnitude.
But yeah, it was something at that moment that clicked. I was doing the walkover, and I was like, wow, this is big. So yeah, after that day, I was like, I'd rather invest my time into horses than people, really, I guess.
I love that. You've both gotten to experience the walkover for the Derby, just the pageantry that's involved. How does that transition over to the day-to-day grind? Because ultimately, every trainer's dream, every owner's dream, every jockey's dream is to win the Kentucky Derby. But as I like to say, you know, a Thursday or a Sunday, that's the meat and potatoes of our industry. But let's talk the walkover. That has to be one of the coolest moments in the industry, because there's 1,000 people walking. It looks like it. I'm just waiting for her horse to get loose, to be honest.
The walk to the winner's circle after the race is a lot better.
Yeah, how is that?
Yeah, no, that one, you know, okay, I've done the walkover. I think that was my 8th Derby that I'd participated in, and I was second in my first one, and had a hard time getting back. I thought I'd win it much sooner than I did. But you remember Ronnie Warren?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to throw back to an old trainer years ago. Of course, I used to know Nancy when she was a gallop girl. She galloped at Arlington Park years back. But Ronnie was a very, very talented trainer who never had great horses. And so Ronnie passed away, and his ashes were left downtown Hot Springs. And nobody picked them up. So I took it upon myself and went down and picked up Ronnie's ashes.
Wow.
And I spread Ronnie's ashes at the finish line right here. And then I took another batch of it and spread them at the finish line at Keeneland. And then I took the last portion and spread it in the winner's circle of the Kentucky Derby.
Wow.
Right? So when I won the race, and I hadn't been back to that circle since I had spread his ashes. And it was almost surreal. I felt like I was walking to see him again.
Yeah.
It was weird. But that's a real rush. The walkover's fine and everything, and some years you get to do it as a trainer. It depends on if you're in the race prior or a couple of races prior, and the back and forth's complicated, but that walkover into that circle is amazing. And I felt like I saw an old friend.
It was really cool when, you know, the owners of Mystic Dan are Arkansas based, and it was very over generous, I think, of them to let go of that trophy. It is in the hotel lobby here at Oaklawn. If you have not seen a Kentucky Derby trophy, make time, go to the hotel lobby. And that was the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby. And that trophy's just a little different.
Mm-hmm. No doubt, no doubt. We may end up putting Thorpedo Anna's collection in here too. We've got to figure that out. She's got a large collection of trophies.
We can make that happen.
I know.
Definitely. Maybe put one in my office. One thing that is kind of upsetting in our industry is we're seeing more and more racetracks close, have financial problems. But one thing that we're trying to do, and we've tried to do it for years, is to bring that younger generation of fan, that younger generation of horsemen. You have helped that tremendously. What do we need to do as an industry to reach out to the younger fan base and introduce them to the sport?
Yeah, I think about this almost every day, right? I feel like this has kind of become my job for the industry. And honestly, I tell people all the time, I think that the sport is already starting to do that, right? You see more conversations, you're seeing more people post online, you're seeing more people being open to pictures and videos.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I just see that because I'm always hounding people out to do it, but I guess the energy shift has already kind of started towards that, right? And I think the biggest thing for people was it just seemed really scary, and there wasn't anything to learn about or kind of look up and see, right? It would be the same kind of workout videos or the same, like, just over and over. There was no, I guess, innovation. And then you have people like Kenny that come along and really help, and it helped me and Mark Cassie, and you know, it's already started, I think.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very involved in social media. I knew that you were the it factor. When I knew he was big when you were here 2 weeks ago, I come out of the studio from doing Oaklawn today, and I introduced myself. A 75-year-old woman walks up to him, "Can I take a selfie with you?" I'm like, this kid has got reach. So super impressive. It's like you hit all the demographics. Kenny, you're great on social media. You make your barn kind of open to the public to give them updates. A lot of trainers don't do that. What do you think we can do to get that younger generation? We've got college days. We open the infields. What do you think is something that would recruit younger owners?
Well, I think it's real easy. I mean, I think that the media rights is the issue with the sport. It's too hard to watch a race when you're trying to access to watch a race. You've either got to open an ADW account, you've got to be in the right state, you've got to be of the right age, you've got to have a credit card. We need to drop all those barriers. When I created the app Horse Races Now, our goal was to open the sport so that people could just click on a race and watch. The group that owns the media rights has blocked us from being able to show races, which is, for me, it's counterproductive. I mean, don't we want people to watch? I don't get it. They had their reasons. We're still fighting that good fight, but you've got to make it so simple for people to watch. Don't make it difficult. Don't make them download a product. Don't make them subscribe to anything. You've got to open the doors and let people watch. And it's for me, it's been probably almost a 15-year battle with trying to get the sport to open itself up and make it easier. You can't block people's access and expect them to get interested, involved, and follow if you're not allowing them to at least watch the races.
Well, one thing I immensely respect about Kenny is, you see trainers, they're horsemen, they're good, but you're a phenomenal businessman. And that's been more important in our industry, maybe the last 20 years or so, because of social media, because of the big presence of named trainers like you. How important is it because you've got, before we were talking about where you have horses running, how important is it to kind of stay grounded, because the amount of success you've had is absolutely mind-blowing, but you're still Kenny McPeek.
Well, I don't know. You don't think too much about that at all, but my mother, when I was a young trainer, she would say, when you win races, put your money into two things, stock market and real estate, and I've done that. Wow. So everywhere I race, I own a home, and I can use them as tax write-offs. Does that make me a good businessman? I don't know. It seems to me it's kind of common sense, really. But we organize ourselves quite well in that every division, I know everything going on with every horse every day.
Right.
And we use a program called T-Lore, which is now owned by the Jockey Club, but that is a really unique system where you can put in race dates, riders, staff, and then we can organize where horses are going. And every time we move a horse from Fairgrounds to Oaklawn, Oaklawn to Fairgrounds to Keeneland to Churchill, then those horses are moved in those systems, and then I get on my phone, and other trainers do this. I'm not the only one. Like, for example, I can open a set list in my farm in Lexington, and I can scroll through every horse and what they're doing on that particular day, which mare's being bred, when their foal date is. So I keep track of all that, and then all I simply do is print those, and then I'll put all my spreadsheets in front of us. I do it every day, every division. And the farm in Lexington's where we raised Mystic Dan.
Yeah.
The farm in Ocala is where we broke and trained Mystic Dan, Thorpedo Anna, Swiss Skydiver, Blackout Time, Taken by the Wind, who are running tomorrow. Gould's Gold started there. So all those, this program helps me keep track of everything. But there are other trainers that do that. Mark does it. Mark uses it. Pletcher uses it. I don't think I'm a whole lot different than them. But the property, my mom was right. She said, don't buy fast, fancy cars. She said, don't put your money into a pretty girl unless you're sure you're going to marry her. And she said, every time you win a race, stuff it in the stock market and stuff it into real estate and write it off. And
good advice,
it's gotten me a long way.
Both of these gentlemen will be represented in today's Razorback, obviously with Sandman on the return. And Kenny, you with Gould's Gold, what's your take on today's field?
Well, Magnitude is obviously a heavy favorite, but at the same time, my horse is probably, look, he's going to have to step up. He hadn't run in a while either. Yeah. And a little bit ambitious for him off the shelf, but at the same time, he's a good horse. He's made $500,000 or $600,000 the hard way. And, as he's gotten older, our hope is that he's better as he gets older. And same time, I would have loved to have run him in an allowance race, but he's run through all those allowance conditions, so there weren't really any options for him. But this would be a first step for the year for my colt. And if he's third or fourth or better, I'll be pleased.
So, Sandman, you get to experience the infield paddock today, riders up. What are your thoughts about him in today's race? Because I'm guessing you've probably become a pretty savvy handicapper.
I'm still working on it. I would say I'm maybe a 4 out of 10.
That's not bad.
It takes a lot to learn all those.
Yeah, there's a lot.
For those
so
who
much
don't know how to read a
information.
racing form, there's a lot of little details in there. It takes years and years to learn that.
Yeah, look, from what I've learned and what I've seen just with Sandman is he's a little bit of a goofy guy, Sometimes he shows up and sometimes he doesn't really show up to the race at all. So I think the hope is as a 4-year-old he's matured. What they tell me in the barn is he's matured, right? So he looks good. He's been training great. He ran in that allowance. Didn't have a great trip. Still came out with an 88 Buyers. So I thought that was pretty good coming off of a 90-day layoff. And hopefully today he makes that step forward and runs like the Grade 1 horse he is.
Yes, so excited for that race today. Kenny is also well represented tomorrow. You've got Taken by the Wind, who's undefeated in 3 starts, already a graded stakes winner. What are your thoughts on Taken by the Wind?
Well, is she headed towards Thorpedo Anna territory?
It's a big statement.
This race this weekend could tell us that. She's not anything like Thorpedo Anna. Thorpedo Anna was such a big, strong mare. This filly's much more. She's leggier. She's lighter, very feminine, but she's done everything right up to now, and we're pretty excited about that. And then Blackout Time and the Rebel. This might be one of the best horses I've ever trained. So
were you kind of surprised to see 8-5 morning line favorite coming off the layoff because he gives up recency?
No, he handled Lipness test pretty easily in the futurity, and if he moves forward off from 2 to 3, which I think he has and he will, no, I think he's definitely deserving favorite. But we really don't worry about whether we're the favorite or the long shot. We try to bring him over there, in 110% physical, and I see this horse running big. If he wins tomorrow, then they're gonna probably move him right up to first or second favorite for the Derby. So that'll be a little added pressure, and we'll deal with that appropriately.
But now you've also got Honeys to Blame, who makes the stakes debut, trying to be the first Arkansas bred to win a $1 million race.
This is a nice horse. he's a really nice horse for John Holloman. He hasn't shown flashes of top level talent like Blackout Time. Of course, Blackout Time's running graded stakes already, but Honeys to Blame is very workmanlike. He's out of a Harlan's Holiday mare, a horse that I trained years back. He reminds me of Harlan's Holiday. Harlan's Holiday never blew fields away, but he understood the job or the task at hand, and it wouldn't surprise me if he jumped in there and got a piece of it. He's going to need to show a little bit better speed figures, but he's going to run hard.
Yeah. Do you have a Derby pick yet, Griffin? Not just Arkansas Derby, Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I think that coming from last year, it's a lot of pressure, right? These people are going to be coming back looking to see, especially the kids, they're going to be looking and seeing what I'm doing. So, there's a lot that's going to go down in the next couple of months, but I do really like Blackout Time. I think he's obviously a great horse, but it's going to be an exciting next 4 or 5 weeks. A
lot can happen between now and the first Saturday in May. Griffin, I want to personally thank you for what you're doing for our industry. It's hard to break in. It's a lot of the unknown, but you have translated that beautifully to the next generation. So thank you for bringing that.
Appreciate that. Thank you guys, too.
And Kenny, I will be voting for you again
Thanks.
for the 2026 class of the Racing Hall of Fame. A busy afternoon. We've got horses back on the track. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. It's a true honor.
A pleasure.
Thank you.